fucking suit. Greetings, Multiverse, and welcome to my reactions to the first episode of Superman and Lois. It was very, very good. I really enjoyed it a lot. This is going to be a full spoiler discussion. Spoiler cast, spoiler words coming up right now, should be on the screen if I remember to put them in. There was a lot here and it felt very different from pretty much any CW show that has come before. If you do not like the CW shows, this still may be for you. If you're more of a Man of Steel person, this may be the series for you. It feels very influenced by Man of Steel particularly. It feels very different from anything the CW have done. There is basically no connection whatsoever, no reference at all to the Arrowverse. This may occur naturally throughout the season. Kara may even still turn up, but there is a scene with a funeral and Kara's not there. No one from Supergirl is there. Jimmy Olsen is not there. It is just entirely the cast of Superman and Lois. It feels like they want to wipe their hands of the Arrowverse with this show. I mean, in a way, that's really great that it brings in people who are just gonna watch this show, but at the same time, I don't think it would have hurt anything for Kara and Jimmy Olsen to be at Martha Kent's funeral. If you're a new viewer or someone who doesn't like the Arrowverse or someone who's not watched any of these shows and just wants to watch a Superman show, this is for you. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the more somber tone of it. I enjoyed the sort of a darker tone of it. This is probably the lightest moment in the entire episode. After that, it gets progressively darker. Darker in the ways of not dark for the sake of dark, like Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which I still really hate. It's dark in a way that reality is. It's a sort of a realistic, believable sense that things are against you, but they're not specifically against you. It's just the way the world works. As Lois says later on, you dream of the good stuff, you don't imagine the problems being part of those dreams, but those problems are always going to be there. You can't even see losing your job, as what happens to Clark in this episode. Not Lois, notably. Lois does not lose her job. Clark does. So I don't know if Lois is going to do it remotely from Smallville, and yes, by the end of the episode they have moved to Smallville. That's what this whole episode deals with, basically. It deals with why they need to move back to Smallville, why that is actually important. It's mostly to do with Morgan Edge, who seems to be taking on more of a Lex Luthor role, although we will talk about Luthor in a moment. Or at the very least, Morgan Edge is just kind of the slimy businessman who just seems to be buying up everything and making things generally worse for the common people, and yet people still support him. Morgan Edge has his own agenda. There's something more that he wants from Smallville. He's not doing it out of the kindness of his heart. Now, one thing I really did like, and I don't usually like teenagers in these shows, like in Stargirl. I hated being a teenager myself and I do not like to be reminded of it. We got to know Jonathan Kent, Jordan Kent and Sarah Lang, and these all seem to be interesting kid characters, and that's good. I mean, Jonathan is positioned as a bit more of a sort of a mentor character, sort of an older brother, but still somewhat of a jock and still somewhat of a jerk in some ways, and you could see him becoming a complete jerk once he hits adulthood. Whereas poor Jordan has suffered from like mental health issues. He feels a much more real character, and so you can understand his anger when his dad reveals himself as Superman, only because they find the Kryptonian ship that he came in, which notably is very different from the one seen in Supergirl. Very, very alien, I would say. A lot better than the one in Supergirl. I don't know what was on that crystal that Jordan got. Jordan appears to be the one with powers. I don't know if Jonathan's going to get them. Probably, as they go along, but Jordan appears to be the one getting powers, but they seem to be negatively affecting him, and it'd be interested to see how he copes with them going forward. And Sarah Lang just seems an interesting character. In fact, I have to say Lana Lang's probably the least interesting character on this show so far. She doesn't know that Clark Kent is Superman, which is an interesting change to the mythos. She's usually the first to know, but hopefully she's going to like build as character as she goes on. She's just sort of bank teller at the moment. Now let's on to the actual Superman stuff. The Stranger, the guy in the Doomslayer armor, he is revealed at the end of the episode. It is Luthor. A Luthor, not necessarily Lex Luthor, but I think the suspicion of him being a Lex Luthor from another world that was destroyed in the Crisis on Infinite Earths is 100% accurate, just from what's said in this episode. Of course, this universe has a Lex Luthor already, John Cryer, doing very well, but this Luthor could be more interesting still. Still, I am really, really excited about this series. I'm really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't enjoy, which really surprised me, was the soundtrack, the score. Usually the CW shows are pretty good. They have pretty good themes. Supergirl has a great theme tune. This has not seemingly got any sort of theme tune yet. And yes, Lois Lane does get a little bit of the short shrift in this particular episode. I'm sure her input will be proved as we go along, but this seems to be very much focused on both Superman and the boys. Now, diversity issues. I don't really want to bring it up too much, as there's been a lot of drama about this on the internet. I see what they're talking about. There are a few background characters who are people of colour, and there is at least one major person of colour who is the villain. But there needs to be more than just the villain. Did Lana Lang need to be white? Or did Sarah Lang need to be white? No, they didn't. Understand what people are talking about. But nonetheless, apart from that big issue, I really enjoyed this episode. I really felt it was a fun way to start the series, and yet a dark way to start the series. It feels closer to Man of Steel, and I really like that. Even in the colour palette, and that's a great influence to have. Very different to anything that has come before, with the exception of Man of Steel, and that is great. What did you guys think? I'm interested to see what people are saying. I'm interested to see what the reviews are going to be like, because I'm often very, very wrong about these things. This is just my gut reaction, and I really enjoyed every part of this. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment below. I'll be sure to check them all out. And of course, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. These all things all really help me out, and it helps me to carry on doing more videos for this channel. Thanks for watching, folks. I will carry on doing reactions for this if this does well. But for now, Multiverse out.